What emotion do you think drives people more, fear or desire?
That's a really good one. Let me rephrase. What emotion do you think drives people's behavior more, right? Fear or desire?
Yes.
I think, so I'm a big fan of the psychologist Freud in the early 20th century talking about how sort of we're in a desire-dominant world, right? And he says something like, everything in life is about sex, except sex is about power, or something like that. But I think generally desire for things that people want, like money, power, fame, it seems to be appealing and definitely gets your dopamine going early in the morning and sort of get you go after in life. I've written a long form post about this on my Instagram page recently as well. I do think it is something people think that motivates them or assumes that motivates them, and it has its place. But fear, from my experience and my conversation with a few successful individuals as well, and across different age groups. People can be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, some in their late 60s. And reading from the greats of the Buffetts, the Mungers of the world, people like invented things that we use every day. Steve Jobs with the iPhone. I think fear generally is a bigger motivator because we're so wired in after billions of years of evolution of this idea of having survival instincts. So for me, my father passed away relatively early on, as in my 20s. So not as early as good at a happy childhood. He had pancreatic cancer, and it's one of those things that comes and goes quickly. And I think the responsibility that's given to me to be the man of the household, and to also being there emotionally for my mother and things like that, definitely created more of a factor, or more of a survival base that, we grew up reasonably well off. So we're really lucky, a lot luckier than many other people. But I think in the case of early life adversity, I would say I recommend. This is from Jensen, and the CEO, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, recently, and he's been obviously doing a lot of public events. They're $5 trillion market cap, the largest company in the world, and supply all the chips to the AI things that we use and power. He talked about so I will quote him directly. If we can pull this up, that would be great on YouTube. To have Jensen on adversity, Jensen Huang on adversity.
I think he said
resilience.
He said something like, "How hard can it be?"
Yeah, no, this is
No,
similar.
not that
This is
one.
the other one. He says smart people generally have high expectations, and high expectations means low resiliency. So he gave a talk of this at Stanford. He says, "I wish you a healthy dose of adversity in your life." So basically, he wishes you get to live like shit, then you actually get to grow a pair and be better.
I think one of my great advantages is that I have very low expectations. and I mean that. Most of the Stanford graduates have very high expectations. You deserve to have high expectations because you came from a great school. You were very successful. You're at the top of your class. Obviously, you were able to pay for tuition. And then you're graduating from one of the finest institutions on the planet. You're surrounded by other kids that are just incredible. You naturally have very high expectations. People with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success. I don't know how to teach it to you except for I hope suffering happens to you. And I was fortunate that I grew up with my parents providing a condition for us to be successful on the one hand, but there were plenty of opportunities for setbacks and suffering. And to this day, I use the phrase pain and suffering inside our company with great glee. And I mean that. Boy, this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And I mean that in a happy way, because you want to refine the character of your company. You want greatness out of them. And greatness is not intelligence. Greatness comes from character, and character is informed out of smart people. It's formed out of people who suffered. And so that's it. And so if I could wish upon you, I don't know how to do it. For all of you Stanford students, I wish upon you ample doses of pain and suffering.
And that's a lot of, and to extend this a little bit on parenting, and with a great group of friends, a great amount of my friends, a group of them who had babies recently, and congrats to them. I'm very happy for them. And then talking with sort of our growing experiences with parenting and family experience, it's quite evident to me that generally, and this is great, obviously, you want your offsprings to be happy and to want them to be healthy, to live a happy, low-stress life. Or, for sure, I want them to be physically, mentally healthy. I don't want anything to sort of break them in the sense where something they can't handle. But I think generally, you also want an ample dose of adversity.
For sure.
I don't want people who I think have potential, or people who I love, to have zero stress. I think it's good for the system, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think the fear side definitely changed people, and it doesn't have to come from literal survival. In a general, especially we're seeing this with great caveat, obviously, sitting in the United States, being in the number one global largest economy in the world, number one GDP, and being generally having resources, natural resources and other things in the world. There are places in the world that have plenty of suffering. That's places that we all know about. That's likely in the Middle East and things like that. Hasn't been blessed even with the basic necessities. That's quite different. And I wish that never happens anywhere in the world. That's not the sort of the conversation that we're talking about here. What I'm talking about is generally sort of when you have certain needs already, the baseline that are taken care of. You want people to experience certain early life challenges, and that really shapes the person, and that makes them grow. So I do think we're driven more by, it's a long-winded answer, and quoting Jensen is better than me answering directly, because he's been so much more successful than I've been, and still doing it. I believe he's 62, 63 this year.
Yeah.
So doubles my age from that standpoint, and still doing it. So I think his first job was a toilet cleaner at Denny's. For anybody who does, he talks about it often, but for anybody who doesn't know Jensen, he cleaned toilets at Denny's before he became the CEO of NVIDIA. So yeah, I do think adversity and fear definitely drives people a lot more. And desire it can be dangerous too. When after you have a lot, you want more and more, and that actually leads people to be unfulfilled and makes them unhappy.
Yeah.
So yeah.